He was a okay, I can't say some of these words on YouTube, but he was a hateful person. Just because he got assassinated, just because he got his life taken away, doesn't absorb all the hateful white supremacist rhetoric, all the white replacement theory, all the demonizing marginalized people for his own political gain. It doesn't resolve any of that. Once again, when it comes to talking about politics and being a human being to other people, I never respected Charlie Kirk for that. And just because he got assassinated today, just because his life was cut short, I'm not going to change my position on that. Let me start off by saying, okay, because I've had about a half a day to try to digest this and wrap my head around it, because once again, I don't like to cover people dying or their death or things like that, because I just feel weird making content about that and then getting paid for it. Like, it just feels weird to me personally. So I don't like to talk about people's deaths unless it involves politics. So that's why we're talking about. So once again, I normally wouldn't do this, but it's woven into politics. So that's why I'm talking about this. I'm not like those weirdos capitalizing off of people dying. That's just not what we do over here. So, first, second, I am never going to celebrate the death of anyone unless they are like Hitler or there's someone who's went around killing people. Those people, hey, got you. Hey, you actively killed other people. You took someone's life. All right, cool. I'm not going to think twice about it. But someone like Charlie Kirk, unless there's something I don't know, maybe he has 20 bodies under his cabin. I don't know. Until proven otherwise, I am not going to celebrate like some people, even in the chat. I'm not going to do that. Once again, you do what you want to do. I'm not going to tell you how to conduct your life. I'm not going to tell you to raise your standards and be a better human being. I'm not going to tell you to do that. I have these standards for myself. I am not going to celebrate people dying or getting assassinated. That's just not how I roll over here, okay? My mama, my family, they taught me a little better than that, okay? That's number one. Number two, he was okay, I can't say some of these words on YouTube, but he was a hateful person. Just because he got assassinated, just because he got his life taken away, doesn't absorb all the hateful white supremacist rhetoric, all the white replacement theory, all the demonizing marginalized people for his own political gain. It doesn't resolve any of that. Once again, when it comes to talking about politics and being a human being to other people, I never respected Charlie Kirk for that. And just because he got assassinated today, just because his life was cut short, I'm not going to change my position on that. I'm sorry. Once again, we can disagree with people. We can harshly, aggressively disagree with people. And that's what I do. But I would never advocate for someone to get assassinated. Once again, unless I have proof that they are harming people, like physically themselves harming people, then yeah, hey, I will look the other way. I'm sorry. But until proven otherwise, Charlie Kirk has brainwashed people. He has spewed hateful white supremacy talking points to people, and that is not okay. And that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so. So once again, that is my positioning on that. Now, there is stuff in my playlist that is not in here, which it should be. So when it comes to this situation, of course, other people are going to have their own opinions, which once again, I'm not your daddy. I'm not your granddad. You can say and feel however you want. But if you want to act like, someone who's not human, if you want to act like a beast, an animal, then that's on you. But that's just not how I carry myself. But let's listen to Hassan Piker, because that's where I got the news from, was from his video, and then I watched his live stream, and he was making a lot of good points. So let's go ahead and switch over and see what he had to say.
Charlie Kirk.
Let's see, 4:58. And once again, at the end of this, we could definitely have an open debate. But once again, this is my show, so I'm going to speak my piece before we do that. Hey, there you go.
This is a person who does what I do, but, on the opposing side, I was supposed to debate him at Dartmouth University 15 days from now in a public event, in a public setting. I go out to public settings like this all the time. So there's a level of closeness in that regard because of the nature of what I do. I mean, look, I have a policy of not living in fear, and but we'll see. I might have to reconfigure certain things. This is insane. I never thought I would see something like this.
Was it a rifle? Was it a handgun?
But I guess if there's one country where something like this could happen, it's this one. I'm like, this is obviously always a fear, especially in the United States of America. There is not. I mean, I don't know what the fuck to say, dude. I don't know what the fuck to say other than America is an incredibly violent country, and it's getting even more violent every day. It's one of the most insane. This is one of the most insane things I've seen. The scourge of gun violence and political violence must end. The shooting of Charlie Kirk is the latest incident of this chaos, and it must stop. We cannot go down this road. There's no place for it in America. We wish for his recovery. Why was Luigi's shooting celebrated, but this is tragic? Couple different reasons. I think there are a lot of people who have some semblance of like parasocial connection to Charlie Kirk, which is as weird as it sounds. It's a public event. It is at a school, and Charlie Kirk is not seen as someone who is like responsible for the social murder of tens of thousands of Americans. You know what I mean? So those are probably some of the reasons why. And for the record,
so he brings up a good point right there, which once again, even when Luigi Mangione killed the CEO of what is it, Health United, I didn't even celebrate that. I was like, hey, good job, or another one. But like, no, I didn't even do that, because that is something that I don't morally feel comfortable doing. Okay. But he makes a good point. The reason why people are viewing this differently is because, once again, unless proven otherwise, hey, I don't know. He is not responsible for killing people like the CEO was when he enacted some of the policies that left people to die. Now, once again, I know a lot of people are like, well, he brainwashed these people and this and this. Yes, I get that. But once again, it's not a clear correlation as a healthcare CEO making decisions that affect people by the hundreds of thousands and then leading them to die. Those are two different conversations here. And I think that is a good point that he brought out here. One more that I want to share with you guys. And then trust me, we're going to have a conversation. I know you guys are probably saying some crazy things, but once again, this is my show. Don't give a damn. Okay. Okay. Don't have that video here in my playlist either. I am slipping. All right. Let's take a listen here.
In this country, violence is.
So this is, let's see, 323.
Politics.
All right. So this is Dr. Dabinga. I have a beautiful conversation with this young man a few months ago talking about DEI and what that really means. So this young man right here knows his stuff, and I think he makes some really good points in this video. Once again, if you guys want to see the entire video or more of his content, Go right there, subscribe. Smart man. Once again, I'm learning some things listening to this guy. Let's take a listen.
Violence is politics. When you look at, I mean, as recently as the insurrection, or you go back to 1898 with a violent overthrow of a democratically elected, leadership of black leadership in North Carolina. That run down the list. Harvey Milk, 1978, openly gay Congressperson out of California, military veteran. Now, of course, you look at Vietnam. Like in 1970, I think there were like 1,800 bombings in this country, or bombing attempts. Right, like. What we have to do in this country to be able to move forward in any way, shape, or form, we have to understand that violence is a form of political expression in this country. Why has Trump been able to hold on to his Republican base? It's not just because of fear of being primaried by somebody Trump supports. It's also the actual fear of violence. So when you listen to people like former Utah Senator, oh my gosh, his name's escaping me, but obviously it's gonna Mitt Romney. When you think of when you hear him talk about what other Republicans have said to him directly, there is a fear of violence from Trump supporters. And and a lot of these guys who talk about Trump behind their back, in Congress and behind closed doors and everything, will get out there and support his legislation. And they will say they are fearful of retribution on their families. That's violence. That is violence. And let's be clear. Yes, people on all sides of the political spectrum commit these acts of violence. Let's also be clear that it's only Republican leaders, I'm talking about actual leaders in the House, Senate, so on and so forth, who advocate for violence. Democratic leaders don't do that. Do Democrats do that? People who are on the quote unquote left, who are liberals and so on and so forth? Absolutely. There's no question about it. But when it comes from the actual leaders, it's a one-sided affair. And these Republicans who are saying so much about Charlie Kirk now had nothing to say for the Minnesota lawmakers, because this is who they are. And that's something we also have to accept. If we want to end this violence, if we want to end what we do in this country as it relates to how we express ourselves, we have to target it and admit it straight on.
All right. Once again, great point. So once again, let me put this up here. So when it comes to the phrase, which this is the first thing that came to my mind when all this started unfolding, was you live by the sword, you die by the sword. And if you don't know what that means, here is what that is supposed to mean. The phrase live by the sword, die by the sword comes from the Bible, Matthew 26:52, where Jesus tells Peter to put away his weapon after cutting off a soldier's ear during Jesus's arrest. Meaning, at its core, it means those who use violence as a way of life are likely to die violently themselves. More broadly, it is a warning that if you embrace destructive or harmful methods, such as violence, corruption, betrayal, etc., those same methods will eventually turn back on you. Once again, I'm a God-fearing man. I read my Bible from Genesis to Revelations and Revelations to Genesis. This is something you should know. And I know Charlie Kirk was a God-fearing man, I guess. This was a warning right here. If you are constantly pushing out this type of rhetoric into the world, at some point, that is going to be the same energy you're going to have to deal with. That's simple. I mean, he said this. Once again, we can go from quote to quote. Like I said, I've been watching Charlie Kirk for the past maybe 3-4 years. And he just says some of the most despicable, craziest, racist things out there. We will spend hours going over some of the crazy things he done said. But this one right here really sticks out, and I think really speaks to the culture that people like Charlie Kirk built on their side. This is the mindset that they built purposely. And this is what happens. He said, he explicitly said after the Nashville school shooting in April 2023, that that while gun deaths are tragic, they are the price of liberty and worth it to preserve the Second Amendment. After kids got killed, this dude had the nerve to say it is the price of liberty and worth it. So once again, I can't be mad at people that feel no sympathy, that feel no empathy. He even ished on people that felt empathy. He said those, like, once again, we can spend all day. But I understand. I'm not going to hold nobody back from talking crazy. Hey, do what you want to do. But at the same time, if America doesn't care about little kids being shot up, torn to pieces, obliterated. I don't know if you guys know what an AR-15 will do to a human body, let alone a little kid. America turns their back on it and says, hey, it's worth it, and it's the price of liberty. Well, damn it, I'm sorry if that same America doesn't care when Charlie Kirk has been assassinated. I don't know what else to say. Once again, like, this is just me being honest. Once again, I don't wish death on no one. If I can just conversate my way through making this a peaceful world, yeah. But some people out there are not all the way put together like that. And if you're constantly pushing out that energy, then I'm sorry. At some point, that same type of energy gonna come back. And that's pretty simple. So
wanted this shit forever. I've been in the field with whatever they throw at me. Brush it off, pick myself up, moving on to the better. Hey. Ain't no errors, baby, it's a new era. I wake up early, feeling rich like I'm Kesha. I get to the paper, boy. Extra.